Yesterday, Liverpool became Club World Cup champions. An honour that we've not had in our history before. We've been there and tried for it a couple of times, but we've never actually been able to pick that up and become world champions. And yesterday, with this fabulous, fantastic team and club that we have right now, they managed to do it. And it wasn't straightforward. It wasn't, just Liverpool go and be and do Liverpool things and, come out and run out winners, comfortable winners or anything like that. If anything, it was very, very tough. Very, very tough. Now, obviously, the reactions on social media from rival fans and such like that who support teams that have probably never competed for the trophy ever, so they dismiss it and say that it's just a Mickey Mouse Cup or anything like that. Well, I mean, what can you say? What can you say? To get to try and get that that gold badge that's going to sit in the centre of our shirt next year, to get that gold badge, you have to go out there, for us anyway, whoever competes for it, whether it's been Real Madrid over the last fair few years or anything like that, Barcelona years ago, I think 2010 or something like that, when they got it, and they were very excited to win that one as well. Every single team, obviously maybe Madrid, probably weren't that excited to win it because they'd probably won it a fair few seasons after they'd won the Champions League for so many times consecutively. But to get there, we got to win the Champions League. That's no mean feat. People will turn around and say that cup competitions are a fluke. They're not. That is just really a really ignorant opinion to say that cup competitions like the Champions League, the Europa League, even the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup, it's all down to luck. It isn't. It's down to preparation and putting the right teams out. All right, people can say we disrespected the Carabao Cup, but then we've gone and picked up a trophy we've never had before and become world champions by doing so. With what I must say, I know Redmen TV last night put out a review or player ratings and gave every single player a 10 out of 10. And I fully agree with it. I really do. I absolutely agree with it. Because it was a 10 out of 10 performance from every single player on the pitch. It really, there's no underestimating how hard we had to work in that game to keep Flamengo at bay. They had some very good chances. They really, really did. And if they'd have had a bit more clinical finishing in some areas, I think even there was one in the last couple of minutes where the ball had come into the box and the player he'd leaned back when he took the shot and skied it. But again, massive performances by Alisson, massive performances by the defence, the midfield, and the attack as well. They were probably a bit more fortunate there. They were probably a bit more fortunate that we didn't score more, and that is the honest truth about it. But it also shows how difficult they were to play against, and how people cannot dismiss, clubs or teams that you might not have heard of. Or that you think, oh, it's just a Brazilian team, they're not going to do very well. Just because they don't play in European competitions doesn't mean that they're not a good team. And they were a very good team. They were very organised, they attacked very well, they were technically very good, they did press us, they played their possession when they needed to. They actually, statistically, had more possession than us, only just. But again, they had 8 chances, they had 3 shots on goal. I think we made 3 saves. It was 3 saves. Every single shot on goal was a save by Alisson. Massive performance by Alisson. We had 14 shots, 7 on target. They made 6 saves. The one that they didn't save was the goal by Bobby Firmino. So it was just, again, people talk about fine margins. This game was a game of fine margins. You may not have heard of most of these players. I'll be totally honest, and neither had I. Pretty much the only ones that I'd heard of was Diego Alves, Rafinha, Felipe Luis, and I'd heard of Gabigol and Everton Ribeiro, because I think that Everton guy was linked to Everton in the Premier League. I think. Might be a different guy. Totally apologise if that isn't correct. But everybody else I'd not heard of. Doesn't mean that they're not good players. And they actually did their club really proud. And their supporters yesterday in the ground as well were up for it right from minute 1, right up until after the final whistle. Like after the extra time final whistle as well. And it was confirmed that Liverpool had won. Their fans had their scarves in the air. They were cheering their team on, clapping their team, going round, and the team was going round as well, clapping their supporters. They've done themselves really proud. The only issues I've got with this game yesterday, and I'm not blaming the players whatsoever. It was the referee. It was the referee, because overall it was a decent game of football. For a neutral, you might have found it boring because there wasn't goals. But it was for me, it was like a chess match between two teams that were going to set up and play quite similar, and it was just going to be who had that little edge in quality or luck, as some people might say, to get that goal. That was literally all it is, and I don't think it was lucky. I do think it was quality, and I'll come on to the goal in a minute. But I think when it was highlighted quite early on, I think one of the Flamengo players went down. It was quite a light challenge or whatever it was, and I think one of our players, actually, I'll go through and see if it was early on. Did we receive a yellow card? Now, Mané was the first one to receive a yellow card on 46 minutes, but even then, again, not sure that was a yellow card. But there was a challenge earlier on, and it was a free kick that was given for something that was just like a brushing of something like that, and it was very, for a lot of Liverpool fans, I could totally see why people were saying they're absolutely against us, they don't want us to win or anything like that. I think it settled down in the second half. The referee had less of an influence right up until the penalty call. I can understand it wasn't a penalty. And it wasn't a penalty because of where VAR picked it up on the edge of the box. Totally fine. Not a problem. The referee gave a yellow card to Rafinha, who made the tackle on Sadio Mané. Mané goes down. It was a perfectly legitimate tackle. It was a foul, I should say. There was contact on his boot as he was about to take the shot. So there was contact, gave him a yellow card, and pointed for a penalty. Went to VAR. Turns out it wasn't a penalty. And I was like, all right, well, it's a free kick. Fair play. No worries. Took away the yellow card, then took away the foul. I don't understand that. I don't understand that. I really don't. I would probably be a bit more fuming if we hadn't gone out and won the game in the end in extra time. But to take away, you gave the foul in the first place. That's not, VAR isn't there to tell you, oh, that's not a foul, don't give it. It's there to say, is it a penalty, is it a red card offence, or is it a free kick? Turns out, apparently, it was neither. And then took away the yellow card. Obviously, a lot of pundits are turning around saying, actually, that was a straight red. He was the last defender. Mane's through on goal. He's trying to take a shot. Look, whether it was a red card, a yellow card, I don't even know. But it was, at least, the very least, it was a foul and should have resulted in a free kick. That doesn't mean we go on and then score the free kick. Fair play. It doesn't. But to take away that opportunity and give a free kick to Flamengo, I wasn't about that. I wasn't about that whatsoever. But we get into the second half, into the first half, I should say, of extra time, and our intensity was still there. You know, people will turn around and say, oh, Flamengo players were going down far too easy. All of a sudden, they all had cramp and all this, that, and the other. It's purely tactical. It is tactical by that team to do that. You've seen many teams over the years do things like that, to maybe go down with a bit of cramp, buy yourselves a little bit more time so you're not having to exert yourselves too much. That's fine. I'm certainly not criticising that. But for me, it showed a mentality shift in Liverpool against Flamengo, in that we weren't going down with cramp. We were playing as one of the fittest teams in world football right now. Jordan Henderson, and I will do a little bit on Jordan Henderson as well. Jordan Henderson fed through a pass to Sadio Mané that if, like, a Modric or a David Silva or a Kevin De Bruyne does this pass, the entire of world football social media is absolutely going on a mental one about it. But it was a beautiful pass by Henderson through to Mané. Mané takes his time, and then he lays it off to Roberto Firmino, who honestly at one point, when he did the cut in to put the goalkeeper on the floor and the defender to start to come back in over this way, and I'm starting to think, please put this opportunity away. You could have took it first time, but he cuts back in onto his right foot, hits the boot of a defender as he hits it, and it goes in the back of the net for 1-0. Now, when I say tactically about Flamengo players using cramp to sort of maybe get into the mentality of Liverpool players or buy themselves a little bit more time, once it went 1-0 to Liverpool, there weren't any cramps anymore. Now, I'm not saying that they were turning around and faking the injuries or faking the cramps or whatever, but it proves it was purely tactical. So when they had to come back into the game and actually try to equalise, then all of a sudden the cramps were gone. That tactic goes out the window. Now they have to start attacking. And we defended very, very well. From attackers to midfielders to the actual defence and Alisson in goal himself. We defended very, very well as a team. I remember Mo Salah getting back into our box and heading balls out of our box as well. There wasn't any man that wasn't in there to try and defend and then also try and get back on the counter-attack and take maybe another chance to make it 2-0. But in the end, it finishes 1-0 to Liverpool and we lifted the Club World Cup. And to see Jordan Henderson, and this is where I'm going to talk about Jordan Henderson for a little bit, to see Jordan Henderson in this last year lift the Champions League trophy with such raw emotion, it actually sent shivers right through my entire body. Like, beautiful shivers. Gave me goosebumps. It's almost giving me goosebumps talking about it now. Like, it really is. Then, to come back into this season, we go ahead, we beat Chelsea on penalties to lift the UEFA Super Cup. Massive. Absolutely massive. Again, another trophy that rival fans would turn around and say, Mickey Mouse European trophy. You can only get there one of two ways. Champions League, win. Europa League, win. That's it. There's only two teams that can compete for it, and it's the winners of the two European Cup trophies. That's why I take it seriously, because it's a very difficult route to get there, and you can only compete in it next season for what you've done in the last season. So if you go and win the Champions League, you go in the Europa League, bang, you then get put on to play in the Super Cup. And massive, massive win, that one. And that was a difficult game as well. And then the Club World Cup out in Qatar, by all means, was a beautiful place and treated the fans exceptionally well that went out there. Fantastic. What an environment that was for them to play in. It must have been. To see the spectacle and the stadiums that they were in, magnificent. And to come up against two teams, Monterrey, who played very well, very difficult team to play against, and then Flamengo, unreal. Brilliant game. Like I said, like a chess match, two tacticians and managers that were, it was basically who was the slightly better team, and it was us. And to see Jordan Henderson be the man that lifts all three of these trophies in 1 year, magnificent. There needs to be a lot of respect put on Jordan Henderson's name. For all the criticism that he's ever been given, like, he's a magnificent representative of Liverpool Football Club, and I'm so proud to have him as our club captain. For however long he does it, he's got my respect all day long, and his performance yesterday was nothing short of spectacular. People will turn around and say, you are absolutely joking, aren't you? No, I'm not. I'm absolutely not joking whatsoever. He was the epitome of going back and forth, up and down the pitch, defending, getting the ball back, moving it forward, going forward, supporting teammates in troubled times when the referee looked like he was against us. He was fighting for our team. He was fighting for our players. He was fighting for the fans. He was fantastic. Magnificent. Massive performance. And a massive performance by every single player. Virgil van Dijk coming back into the team, you see the difference that he makes. We know it. All right, Jordan Henderson plays centre-back against Monterrey. Doesn't look like a natural centre-back at all, and he didn't have the best of games, but he also didn't do too badly. Then moving back into midfield, we see everybody go back to type. The strongest 11 that we could put out on that day. Maybe minus Gini Wijnaldum, but fantastic. Absolutely immense. And I'm going to wrap this video up here before I keep going on far too long. But thank everybody. Thank you, everybody. Even the Flamengo fans that have put some comments in some of the previous videos as well. Right, you guys have been nothing short of respectful as well. Really nice comments as well. And I wish you guys the best of luck. I think that game was like maybe the last game or something this year for Flamengo. So the best of luck for you guys in the future. A fantastic game, a really difficult game for us, but we walk out winners, and I'm really proud of our team for doing so. Anyway, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. I'm going to be doing a preview for Liverpool Leicester pretty soon as well, so look out for that one. But for now, thank you ever so much for everyone's support, the incoming subscribers, everybody like that. I really do appreciate every single one of you so much. Have a great day, guys, and I'll catch you later.